Hi friends, in this tutorial we are going to see the difference between fine-tuning and RAG. Fine-tuning and RAG, these are the two mechanisms by which you can customize a generative AI model. Okay, so first understand what is the issues or problems with the LLM model. So if you have worked with a ChatGPT or Google Gemini model, you will see these models are good, but they act like a simple Google search. You give a prompt and the prompt will give you a response. Now the question comes how to customize or how to use LLM model according to our need or an enterprise need. Okay, so like suppose an enterprise, a company, he wants to get information about its some internal documentation. So for that, how we can use LLM? So there are two techniques by which you can customize a LLM model, okay, according to your need. So the first technique is RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, and the second technique is fine tuning. We will see these two techniques in detail. Okay, let's understand these via two questions. Okay, the first question is, what is the refund policy for gold card customers for Delta Airlines? Okay, so how we can, so if this question, definitely if you ask in ChatGPT, which is trained in internet data, it may not be able to provide this information because that data where the ChatGPT model is trained, that will not be having the refund policy of the gold card customer. It may not be there. Okay, that data may be available with internal documentation of data airlines. Okay, so how we can answer this question? And second question is, write a response like a standard legal language and similar to an insurance companies. Okay, so you are using a GPT model, but instead of sending a proper response, you want your response to be customized in a legal language. Okay, so how we can make these modification, how we can customize these? For that we are using these two techniques. Okay, so let's understand about RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, what it is. Okay, so in the RAG, when a user sends a prompt to GPT model, before sending a prompt, the user will get some information or some context from a document store. Okay, so the prompt will have all the information with a document store, and then it will make a call to LLM model, and then you will get the response. Okay, so to solve these type of use cases, the first use case where we are looking for a refund policy for a gold card customer for Delta Airlines. In these use cases, what you do, you get the document store of all the Delta Airlines return policy. Okay, and that you attach with your prompt. So whenever any question is asked about that refund policy, it will get all the information, and with that information it will call to generative LLM model, and it will give you the response. Okay, so few points about the RAG combines a pre-trained model. Okay, so in RAG you are not training the model again. The model is already trained. What you do, you just plug in the external knowledge base. This model retrieves relevant documents at runtime to generate answers. Okay, because these documents are chunked and stored in a vector document store, and whenever user asks a question, it will pull the correct document from that vector document store through the semantic search, and then this prompt and context will be sent to the LLM model. Okay, so how it works? User asks the question, system searches the relevant documents, okay, into the vector database store, and then model uses retrieved content to answer. The base model doesn't change because you are not changing your model. It just references the latest information which is coming from the context. Key features: knowledge is fetched live from the documents. always up to date, no retraining needed, because whatever the documents you want to get the information, all those documents you just need to plug with your prompt. Okay, and no extra retraining of the model is needed. Good for large or frequently changing data sets. Example: an insurance AI chatbot uses RAG to fetch latest policy updates, claims history, and compliance docs to answer customer queries accurately. Okay, so wherever you want to create any sort of a chatbot which dependent on some documents, okay, where basically you want to search documents, you can always go for the RAG as a solution. Okay, so suppose let's think about another use case. In my project, I have a lot of project related documentation, and it's very difficult to go through each and every documentation, right? Go maybe some documents maybe they're in SharePoint, or some document maybe there is some internal repository, and we don't know what is written in each document. Okay, so what you can do, you can attach all this document as a knowledge base. Okay, and you can plug that knowledge base to your LLM model. Okay, so when next time a user will ask any question through the prompt, it will fetch the information from your knowledge base, but that is called as a RAG. Okay, and from there it will able to give you the information. Okay, next, fine tuning. What is a fine tuning? Remember, in RAG you are not retraining your original chat GPT or original LLM model. Here what you do, the only difference is here whatever the data you want, you train the model, you train the base model with your own data. So the model will learn the pattern of the data which you are giving to it. Okay, so if in the data you are giving, maybe you are telling the model has to use some specific language, like we saw, like I say, legal language or technology related language, or model has to have some professional tone or maybe some casual tone. So we can provide all this information into the data, and with that data we can train our generative LLM model. Okay, so fine tuning is the process of retraining a pre-trained language model. Okay, so you are basically again retraining this model. Okay, to your specific data set to specialize it. Okay, the model learns from your data, rules, or domain knowledge permanently. Okay, so once model learns your rules, you cannot change it again. Okay, because the model has learned in your data. So in whatever is there in your data, model will learn from that, and then accordingly next time the model will behave. Okay, so it's something like that. You have lot of books in the library. Okay, and with all the books which you have in the library, you pre-trained your base LLM model. Okay, so basically you fed all these books to your base LLM model, and now these books are basically blended or baked with this model. Okay, now it's like a fine-tuned LLM which has the LLM properties also, and which has got the data, the external data which you have provided. Okay, so that data will always be there with this model. Okay, so you provide a data set, company docs or FAQs or product manuals. Okay, and the model will be trained with these data sets. The model updates its weights based on your data. Okay, after fine tuning, the model inherently knows your domain and responds accordingly. Okay, so remember, in the fine tuning is best for modifying the behavior. Okay, so I told you, you can change the tone or response style of your model. So suppose if you want to have some legal or professional tone, or maybe a tone related to some technology, you can do that. Or you can along with that, you want the model should always output maybe in a JSON structure, or maybe some sort of a strict structure. Okay, if those things you want to change, for that also you can use fine tuning. Okay, so a simple example is here. So you put something here earlier. When you were getting the response from your GPT model, it will be in the generic format. Okay, now you have changed like your response in such a way, like it's a this is the response in a claims domain in insurance. So claim summary, coverage decision, fraud risk, recommended action, and confidence score. Okay, so in a particular format, if you want to give your response, you can train according to the fine tuning. Okay, so key features of the fine tuning: knowledge is baked into the model, works even without external sources. Okay, and responses are always consistent and stylized. Updating requires training, that is very important. Okay, so if you want to update anything, because whatever you have trained with your previous dataset, that dataset is always available with your LLM model. Okay, if you want to add any more dataset, you have to go for again retraining of the model, and sometime it will be more costlier. In RAG that is not the case. Okay, second thing, not all the models you can train, you can fine tune. Okay, you can use the RAG with all of the models, but you cannot fine train all of the models. Okay, you can fine train few models like we have shown here: Llama 2, Mistral, Falcon, GPT 3.5, and some Cloud variants. Okay, one of the example, an insurance AI fine tuned on your company policies will always answer in your brand tone and follow company rules even if it doesn't fetch any documents. Okay, this slide is very important, and let's go through the some scenario questions when it will be using RAG and when it will be using fine tuning. You are building a chatbot that answers questions from company policy documents and PDFs which are updated frequently. So the chatbot is asking the question strictly from your company policy documents and PDFs. Okay, and they are again changing frequently. Since they are changing frequently, if you use the fine tuning, the problem will happen. You have to retrain your model again and again, and retraining of the LLM model is very costly affair. Okay, so you should go for the RAG approach, not to the fine tuning approach. Okay, second one, you want the model to always respond in a structured format like JSON for insurance claim decisions. Okay, so you want restrict the output response to a JSON format. It means it should be a fine tuning. Okay, you next one, building an AI assistant that must answer questions again internal company knowledge base or manuals. So basically you are feeding company's knowledge base and manuals. The RAG will be the best solution for that. You want the model to behave like a legal expert, analyzes contracts and give structured risk analysis. Again, so what you want your model, the model should behave and give response like I say legal expert. So basically you are changing the tone and tune of the model, right? So you will go for the fine tuning. Next one, you are building a customer support bot that must answer questions about thousands of product manuals that change regularly. Again, you are fetching the information from lot of documents. It will go for the RAG. Okay, so here the last slide, fine tuning is always how AI answers. So basically you are basically customizing the behavior of your chatbot using the style, using the tone, and RAG means you are giving the content to the LLM model and you are asking the question from that content. Okay, again the use case where it comes for the domain knowledge, fast changing data, always use RAG, and where it comes for the style and structured output or tone, it will be always fine tuning. Hope it helps you. I have tried to explain you in a very detailed way. Okay, and there is another RAG architecture video in my playlist. If you want to know more about the RAG and agent, you can go through those videos. Thank you.